Jake Thompson, a 32-year-old firefighter in Seattle, was the kind of guy everyone admired. He'd rush into burning buildings without hesitation, saving lives with a calm focus that earned him quiet respect at Station 19. Off duty, he coached his daughter Mia's little league team and taught his 5-year-old son Ethan how to throw a spiral. His life centered on his family, his wife Emma, his high school sweetheart, and their 2 kids. They lived in a modest suburban home in Ballard, where weekends meant backyard barbecues and movie nights with popcorn fights. Jake and Emma had been together since they were 16, their bond forged through late-night diner talks and dreams of a shared future. Now, Emma worked as a marketing executive downtown, her ambition driving long hours at a sleek ad agency. Jake didn't mind. He loved her hustle and made it his mission to keep their spark alive. He'd surprise her with her favorite oat milk latte from the corner cafe or leave post-it notes on her laptop with dumb jokes to make her smile after a tough day. To him, marriage was work, good work, worth every effort. But lately, something felt off. Emma's late nights at the office had stretched longer, her explanations vaguer. She'd come home distracted, her phone glued to her hand, typing furiously before locking the screen. Jake noticed her quick glances at notifications during dinner, her half-hearted laughs at Mia's stories. He chalked it up to stress. Her agency was pitching a big client, she'd said. Still, a nagging unease settled in his gut, like the faint smell of smoke before a fire. One Thursday evening, Jake was sprawled on the couch, scrolling through his phone for new drills to teach Mia's team. The kids were asleep upstairs, and Emma was in the kitchen, supposedly finishing a work email. Her phone buzzed on the counter, then again insistent. Jake glanced over as she grabbed it, her fingers swift to silence it. She muttered something about a colleague and stepped into the hallway, her voice dropping to a hushed murmur. Jake couldn't make out the words, but the tone, soft, almost secretive, sent a chill down his spine. He shook it off. Emma wasn't the type to hide things. They'd always been open, even through rough patches, like when Ethan's birth left them sleep-deprived and snappy. Jake trusted her, but as she returned, avoiding his gaze and claiming she needed to crash early, doubt crept in. "Everything okay at work?" he asked, keeping his tone light. "Yeah, just swamped," she replied, already halfway up the stairs. Her answer was too quick, too practiced. Jake stared at the empty hallway, his thumb hovering over his phone. He wanted to believe her, but the firefighter in him knew, where there's smoke, there's fire. The next few days, Jake watched closer. Emma's phone never left her side. She'd angle it away when texting, her face unreadable. At breakfast, she barely engaged, nodding absently as Ethan babbled about his new dinosaur book. When Jake offered to pick her up after work, she'd brush him off, saying she'd Uber. Her excuses piled up, each one flimsier than the last. By Saturday, Jake's unease had hardened into suspicion. That night, after tucking the kids in, Jake found Emma in the bathroom, showering. Her phone sat on the sink, unlocked, a rare lapse. His pulse quickened. He'd never snooped before. The idea felt like a betrayal, but the weight of not knowing pushed him forward. He picked up the phone, his thumb trembling as he opened her messages. There it was, a thread with Mark, her coworker. The texts were casual at first, work talk, shared memes. But further up, the tone shifted. "Missed you at the meeting today," Mark wrote with a winking emoji. Emma's reply, "You'll see me soon enough," winky face. Jake's stomach churned. He scrolled faster, finding plans to meet at a hotel bar downtown. "Can't wait." Mark had texted last night. Emma's response, "Same." The shower stopped. Jake dropped the phone back on the sink, his heart pounding. He slipped into the living room, sinking onto the couch, staring at the dark TV screen. The evidence was clear, but his mind rebelled. Emma, his Emma, wouldn't do this. There had to be an explanation. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, a flirty joke gone too far. He clung to that hope, even as it frayed. When Emma emerged, towel-wrapped, she grabbed her phone and headed to bed without a word. Jake stayed downstairs, replaying the texts in his head. Sleep didn't come. By morning, he'd decided. He wouldn't confront her yet. Accusing her without proof could blow up their marriage for nothing. He needed more, something concrete. On Monday, Jake checked their shared location app, a habit from when Emma worked late and he worried about her safety. Her dot lingered at the agency until 8 p.m., then moved to a hotel in Belltown. Jake's jaw tightened. He kissed the kids goodnight, told the babysitter he'd be back soon, and drove downtown. He parked across from the hotel, his truck blending into the evening traffic. Through the glass lobby, he saw Emma at the bar, laughing, her hand brushing a man's arm. Mark, he assumed. Jake's first instinct was to storm in, but he stopped himself. Rage wouldn't fix this. He pulled out his phone and recorded a short clip of them, careful to stay discreet. The video was shaky but clear enough. He drove home, the footage burning a hole in his pocket. That night, he called Ryan, his best friend since high school, and spilled everything. "Dude, that's brutal," Ryan said, his voice low. "You sure it's what it looks like?" "I saw them," Jake said, his throat tight. "I'm not crazy." Ryan sighed. "Don't do anything stupid, man. Get more proof, then decide. You've got kids to think about." Jake nodded, though Ryan couldn't see. He hung up, staring at the ceiling. Emma's betrayal cut deeper than any fire he'd faced. But he wasn't the type to burn everything down. He'd be smart, methodical. Whatever came next, he'd face it like he faced every blaze, with steady hands and a clear head. Jake Thompson woke to the buzz of his alarm at 5 a.m., his body aching from a sleepless night on the couch. The video of Emma with Mark at the hotel bar looped his mind, each frame sharpening his resolve. He wasn't ready to confront her. Not yet. He needed undeniable proof, something she couldn't twist or deny. As a firefighter, Jake knew the value of preparation. Rushing into a blaze without a plan got people hurt. This was no different. He showered, made coffee, and packed lunches for Mia and Ethan before they stirred. Emma was still asleep, her phone likely tucked under her pillow. Jake's fingers itched to check it again, but he resisted. He'd be smarter than that. At breakfast, he kept things normal, asking Mia about her science project and Ethan about his t-ball game. Emma joined them, distracted, scrolling her phone. When she kissed Jake goodbye, her lips barely grazed his cheek. He forced a smile, his chest tight. At Station 19, Jake threw himself into work, hauling hoses and running drills to burn off the anger. During a break, he confided in Ryan over the phone, keeping his voice low in the bunk room. "I'm not losing my family without a fight," Jake said, "but I need more than a shaky video." Ryan hesitated. "You sure you want to dig deeper? Sometimes ignorance is easier." "Not for me," Jake replied. "I need the truth." Ryan suggested a low-key approach. Track Emma's patterns without tipping her off. Jake already had access to their shared location app, but he'd been reluctant to use it beyond that one night. Now he opened it on his phone, watching Emma's at her agency in downtown Seattle. He'd check it later, after his shift. That evening, Jake offered to handle the kids' bedtime routine, giving Emma space to catch up on work. She agreed, barely looking up from her laptop. Once Mia and Ethan were asleep, Jake sat in his truck outside, pretending to take a call. He opened the location app again. Emma's moved from their Ballard home to a restaurant in Capitol Hill. Jake's pulse quickened. He drove over, parking a block away. Through the restaurant's window, he spotted Emma and Mark at a corner table, their heads close, laughing. Jake's grip tightened on the steering wheel. He recorded another clip, zooming in to capture their hands brushing as Mark passed her a drink. The footage was clearer this time, damning. Jake drove home, his mind racing. 2 videos weren't enough. He needed a pattern, something airtight. Over the next week, Jake became a ghost in his own life. He kept up his routine, fire station shifts, coaching Mia's team, reading to Ethan, but his focus was on Emma's movements. The location app showed her at hotels, bars, even a late-night coffee shop with Mark. Jake documented each outing, building a digital dossier. He saved screenshots of her texts when she left her phone unattended, careful not to disturb her lock screen. One message from Mark read, "Last night was worth the risk." Emma's reply, "You're trouble." Jake's stomach turned, but he kept going. Emma's lies grew bolder. She claimed client dinners or team happy hours, but Jake knew better. When he asked casual questions, "How was work? Who was there?" she deflected, her answers vague. One night, she snapped, "Why the interrogation, Jake? I'm just doing my job." Her defensiveness confirmed his suspicions. She was covering tracks she didn't know he'd found. Jake's next move was riskier. He installed a small GPS tracker in Emma's car, bought online for $50. He felt like a stranger to himself, but the betrayal justified it. The tracker synced to his phone, confirming her trips to Mark's apartment in Queen Anne. Jake staked out the place one night, catching them walking arm in arm to the entrance. He filmed it, his hands steady despite the ache in his chest. Ryan met Jake for beers at a dive bar to check in. "You're playing detective now," Ryan said, eyeing the GPS app on Jake's phone. "What's the endgame?" "I don't know yet," Jake admitted. "But she's not getting away with this. Not after everything I've given her." Ryan leaned forward. "Just don't lose yourself, man. Think about Mia and Ethan." Jake nodded, but his focus was singular. He wasn't just gathering evidence. He was building a case. He transferred his videos and screenshots to a secure cloud folder, password protected. He even consulted a divorce lawyer, Sarah Chun, on his lunch break. Sarah advised him to keep emotions out of it and focus on facts. "Washington's a no-fault state," she said, "but infidelity can sway custody or asset splits if you play it right." Jake left her office with a plan forming. Back home, Emma's behavior shifted. She was sweeter, almost performative, cooking Jake's favorite chili, suggesting a family hike. Jake saw through it, guilt, or maybe fear of getting caught. He played along, matching her fake warmth, but every smile felt like a lie. One night, she initiated intimacy, her hands pulling him close. Jake froze, Mark's face flashing in his mind. He mumbled an excuse about a headache and rolled away. Emma didn't push, but her silence screamed suspicion. The breaking point came 2 weeks later. Jake's shift ended early, and he swung by the agency to surprise Emma with takeout. Her assistant, Lisa, said she'd left for a client meeting an hour ago. Jake checked the tracker. Her car was at Mark's apartment. He drove there, parking across the street. Emma emerged, fixing her hair, Mark trailing behind. They kissed briefly before she got in her car. Jake recorded it, his final piece of evidence. That night, he sat in his truck, reviewing the folder. 10 videos, dozens of texts, GPS logs. It was enough to bury her. But confrontation felt too small, too messy. Jake wanted justice, not chaos. He remembered their 10th anniversary next month. An idea sparked. He'd turn their celebration into her reckoning, exposing her to everyone who mattered. It was bold, public, but legal. Emma would face the truth, and Jake would walk away clean. He called Ryan, outlining the plan. "You're sure?" Ryan asked. "No going back after this." "I'm sure," Jake said, his voice steel. "She broke us. Now she pays." Jake Thompson's plan was set. For weeks, he'd gathered evidence of Emma's affair with Mark, his resolve hardening with every damning video and text. Now, their 10th wedding anniversary loomed, and Jake saw it as the perfect stage. He wouldn't just confront Emma. He'd expose her betrayal to their friends, family, and her co-workers in a way she couldn't dodge. It was risky, public, but calculated, every move designed to keep him on the right side of the law. He started small, acting the devoted husband to avoid suspicion. He suggested celebrating their anniversary with a big party, something they hadn't done in years. Emma, caught off guard, agreed, her smile tight but convincing. Jake booked a private room at the Pink Door, a trendy Seattle restaurant with a waterfront view, ideal for a crowd. He sent invites to their inner circle, his parents, Emma's sister, Ryan, and a dozen mutual friends. Then he added Emma's co-workers, including Mark, framing it as a gesture to blend their work and personal lives. Mark RSVP'd yes. Jake's jaw clenched, but he stayed focused. At Station 19, Jake kept his head down, running drills with his crew to burn off the tension. He confided in Ryan during a late-night shift, showing him the guest list. "You're really doing this," Ryan said, shaking his head. "It's going to be a bomb." "That's the point," Jake replied. "She lied to everyone, not just me." Ryan warned him about the fallout. Public humiliation could backfire, especially with Mia and Ethan to consider. Jake nodded but didn't waver. He'd shield the kids. They'd stay with his parents that night. This was about truth, not vengeance. Jake worked with his lawyer, Sarah Chun, to protect himself legally. She reviewed his evidence, videos, texts, GPS logs, and confirmed it was solid for divorce proceedings. "Just don't cross into harassment," she advised. "Keep it factual, not emotional." Jake assured her the reveal would be clean, no shouting matches or threats. Sarah drafted preliminary divorce papers, ready to file post-party. He spent evenings editing his footage into a tight montage. It started with clips from their early years, wedding vows, Mia's first steps, Ethan's birth, then shifted to Emma's hotel meetups with Mark, their flirty texts overlaid as subtitles. The final frame was their kiss outside Mark's apartment, time-stamped. Jake tested the video on a USB drive, ensuring it would play smoothly on the restaurant's projector. He burned a backup, just in case. Emma grew suspicious as the party neared. "Why such a big deal for 10 years?" she asked one night, chopping vegetables for dinner. Jake shrugged, saying he wanted to celebrate their milestone. She seemed mollified, but her eyes lingered on him. Jake kept his tone light, hiding the storm inside. 2 days before the event, Jake met Ryan at a coffee shop to finalize details. Ryan agreed to run the projector and keep the crowd calm if things got heated. "You're sure Emma won't bolt when she sees Mark there?" Ryan asked. "She'll stay," Jake said. "She's too proud to run." He knew Emma's ego. She'd play the perfect wife, even with her lover in the room. The night arrived. Jake dropped Mia and Ethan at his parents' house, promising a fun weekend. At the pink door, he greeted guests, shaking hands and laughing on cue. Emma arrived late, citing a work call, her charm dialed up as she worked the room. Mark slipped in, hovering near the bar. Jake caught their quick glance, a flicker of secrecy that fueled his resolve. Dinner unfolded smoothly. Guests toasted the couple, sharing stories of Jake and Emma's early days. Jake smiled through it, his pulse steady. After dessert, he stood, clinking his glass. "I've got something special," he said, nodding to Ryan, who dimmed the lights and started the projector. The screen lit up with their wedding footage. Emma in her veil, Jake grinning like a kid. Guests cooed, nostalgic. Then the tone shifted. A grainy clip showed Emma and Mark at a hotel bar, her hand on his arm. Murmurs rippled through the room. The next clip was clearer, them kissing outside Mark's apartment. Text flashed on screen. "Can't wait. You're trouble." The final frame froze on their embrace, the date glaring. The room went silent. Emma's face drained of color, her fork clattering to the plate. Mark shifted, eyes darting to the exit. Guests exchanged stunned looks. Emma's sister gasped. Jake's mom gripped her napkin. Jake spoke, his voice calm but firm. "This is why we're here. Not to celebrate, but to end the lies. Emma, I'm filing for divorce." Emma stood, her chair scraping. "Jake, this isn't. You're blowing this out of proportion." Her voice cracked, desperate. "It was nothing, a mistake. 10 meetups aren't a mistake," Jake said, holding her gaze. "You chose this." He turned to the crowd. "I'm sorry you had to see it this way, but I'm done pretending." Ryan cut the projector. Guests murmured, some glaring at Emma, others frozen. Mark slipped out, unnoticed by most. Emma's sister approached her, whispering, but Emma shook her off, grabbing her purse. She stormed toward Jake, hissing, "You'll regret this." He didn't flinch, just watch her leave. Ryan clapped Jake's shoulder. "You okay, man?" Jake exhaled, the weight of months lifting. "Yeah, it's done." Guests trickled out, some offering awkward support, others avoiding eye contact. Jake stayed, settling the bill, his mind already on the next steps. Divorce, custody, moving forward. He'd exposed the truth, not for revenge, but to reclaim his life. Emma's betrayal was hers to carry now. Jake Thompson stood in the empty banquet room at the pink door, the echoes of his anniversary party bombshell fading. Exposing Emma's affair with Mark to their friends, family, and her co-workers had been surgical, public, undeniable, and legal. Emma's stunned exit left a void, but Jake felt lighter, like he'd shed a burning weight. Now, the real work began, rebuilding his life, protecting Mia and Ethan, and navigating the wreckage of their marriage. The next morning, Jake woke early in their Ballard home, the silence heavy. Emma hadn't come back, likely staying with her sister. He made pancakes for Mia and Ethan, keeping their routine steady. Mia, sharp for 8, sensed something. "Is Mom okay?" she asked, poking her syrup-soaked fork. "She's just busy," Jake said, ruffling her hair. "We're all good." He hated the half-truth, but shielding them came first. After dropping them at school, he called his lawyer, Sarah Chun, to push the divorce papers forward. Sarah confirmed the filing would cite irreconcilable differences, using Jake's evidence to strengthen his case for joint custody and fair asset division. "You played it smart," she said. "The public reveal might sway a judge if Emma fights dirty." At Station 19, Jake's crew noticed his focus. He threw himself into training, hauling gear with extra force, but rumors of the party spread. A teammate, Carlos, pulled him aside. Heard about last night. You good? Jake nodded, keeping it brief. He didn't need pity. He needed to move forward. Emma's absence stretched into days. She texted about picking up the kids, but Jake insisted on neutral ground, a park near school. When they met, Emma avoided his eyes, her voice clipped. I'm staying at my sister's. We need to talk about the kids. Jake agreed, setting a meeting with a mediator. He kept it civil, but her presence stung, a reminder of her betrayal. Word of the reveal hit Emma's workplace hard. Ryan, who knew a few of her co-workers, heard Mark was demoted, his fling with Emma costing him a project lead role. Emma faced whispers and cold shoulders. Her big client pitch tanked. She called Jake, voice shaky, begging to explain. It was a mistake, Jake. I was stressed, lost. Can we talk? You talked enough in those texts, Jake said, cutting her off. We'll sort out the kids, but we're done. He hung up, his resolve firm. Her remorse felt like too little, too late. Jake moved out, renting a small apartment near the station. He set up bunk beds for Mia and Ethan, making it fun with superhero posters and a mini basketball hoop. The kids adapted, but Ethan clung to him at bedtime, asking when Mom would live with them again. Jake hugged him tight. We're a team, buddy. Always. He started therapy, recommended by Sarah, to process the anger and keep steady for the kids. Social media buzzed with the story. A friend had posted about the party, and clips of Jake's montage leaked online, going viral on X. Strangers praised his restraint, calling him a hero dad. Others slammed Emma, though Jake didn't engage. The attention brought messages from old friends and even a local reporter wanting an interview. Jake declined, but the support bolstered him. He started a blog, Rebuilding After the Fire, sharing tips on co-parenting and healing from betrayal. It gained traction, readers relating to his honesty. Emma tried to rebuild, too. She switched jobs, taking a lower role at a smaller firm to escape the gossip. She attended therapy, sending Jake emails about her progress, promising to be a better co-parent. Jake read them, but didn't reply. He noticed her efforts with the kids, showing up on time, planning outings, but trust was gone. He kept interactions brief, focused on schedules and school events. One evening, Jake took Mia and Ethan to a Mariners game, a treat to lift their spirits. During the seventh-inning stretch, Mia asked, "Are you mad at Mom forever?" Jake paused, choosing his words. "I'm not mad, kiddo. I just needed to do what's right for us." Mia nodded, leaning into him. Ethan, oblivious, cheered for a home run. Jake felt a flicker of peace. He was enough for them. His blog grew, catching a publisher's eye. They offered a book deal, wanting Jake to expand his story into a guide for single parents. He hesitated but signed, seeing it as a way to provide for the kids. Writing became his outlet, each post chipping away at the pain. He met Sarah, the lawyer, for coffee to discuss the deal. She smiled, impressed. "You're turning this into something good," she said. Jake shrugged, but her words stuck. Emma pushed for reconciliation, leaving voicemails about couples therapy. Jake agreed to one session, more for closure than hope. At the mediator's office, Emma admitted her affair stemmed from feeling invisible in their hectic life. "I messed up, Jake. I want to fix it." Jake listened, his face neutral. "You didn't just break us," he said. "You broke what I believed in. I can't go back." He left, the door closing on that chapter. By month's end, Jake settled into his new routine. He coached Mia's team, took Ethan to t-ball, and wrote late at night. The kids thrived, their laughter filling his apartment. Emma was consistent, but Jake kept boundaries firm. The viral post faded, but his blog grew, readers sharing their own stories. Jake realized he wasn't just surviving. He was building something new, piece by piece, for himself and his kids. Jake Thompson's life had settled into a steady rhythm a year after exposing Emma's affair at their anniversary party. The viral fallout, divorce filing, and public scrutiny were behind him. Now, at 33, he focused on Mia, Ethan, and his own path forward. The Seattle firefighter's apartment near Station 19 was a haven for his kids, filled with their laughter and the hum of a new normal. His blog, Rebuilding After the Fire, had grown into a book deal, and Jake was determined to turn his pain into purpose. Morning started early. Jake brewed coffee, packed lunches, and quizzed Mia on her spelling words while Ethan built Lego towers. After dropping them at school, he headed to the station, where his crew respected his silence about the past. Work was his anchor, saving lives grounded him, each call a reminder of what he could control. Off duty, he coached Mia's Little League team, cheering her stolen bases, and took Ethan to T-ball, high-fiving his wobbly hits. The kids were his compass, guiding every choice. Emma had stabilized, too. She'd settled into a new marketing job at a smaller firm, away from the gossip that followed her affair with Mark. Therapy helped her face her mistakes, and she showed up for Mia and Ethan consistently, taking them to movies or the zoo on her weekends. Jake kept co-parenting civil, meeting at neutral spots like coffee shops to swap schedules. Emma's apologies had stopped. She proved her commitment through actions, not words. Jake noticed, but kept his distance, trust a bridge too far. His blog became a lifeline for others. Readers emailed stories of betrayal and recovery, thanking Jake for his raw honesty. The book deal with a local publisher gained traction, with Jake writing chapters late at night about co-parenting, self-respect, and moving on without bitterness. A literary agent pitched it as a guide for broken families, and early feedback was strong. Jake saw it as more than a paycheck. It was a legacy for Mia and Ethan, proof that pain could build something lasting. One Saturday, Jake took the kids to Pike Place Market, dodging tourists as Ethan begged for mini donuts. Mia spotted a street performer juggling fire, tugging Jake's hand. "Like you at work, Dad," she said. He grinned, snapping a photo. Later, at a fishmonger's stall, he ran into Sarah, his lawyer from the divorce. She followed his blog and congratulated him on the book. "You're doing big things," she said, her smile warm. They grabbed coffee, chatting about her pro bono cases and his writing. Jake felt a spark, cautious but real. They exchanged numbers, agreeing to meet again. Emma's life wasn't without consequences. Mark had moved to Portland, their fling fizzling under workplace scrutiny. She confided to Jake during a kid handoff that she'd ended contact with him for good. "I'm trying to be some of my kids' respect," she said, eyes steady. Jake nodded, acknowledging her effort but didn't soften. Respect was earned, not given. At a parent-teacher conference, Jake and Emma sat side by side, listening to Mia's teacher praise her science project. Ethan's kindergarten teacher shared his drawings of Dad's fire truck. They exchanged a glance, pride, not pain. Outside, Emma hesitated. "You're a great dad, Jake. I'm sorry I broke what we had." Jake paused, then said, "We're good for them. That's enough." It was closure, not forgiveness, but it freed him. Jake's book, After the Fire, launched at a small Seattle bookstore. Ryan, his parents, and a few station buddies showed up, cheering as he read a chapter. Mia and Ethan sat in the front, beaming. The crowd included blog readers, some tearful as they shared how his words helped them. A local news outlet covered it, calling Jake Seattle's hero dad. He signed copies, his hand steady, grateful for the chance to inspire. Dating Sarah felt like a new chapter. They took things slow, meeting for hikes or trivia nights at local bars. She laughed at his bad puns and challenged his stubborn streak, her wit keeping him grounded. One evening, over burgers at a diner, she asked about Emma. Jake was honest. "She's their mom, but I'm done looking back." Sarah squeezed his hand, her trust a quiet gift. He introduced her to the kids months later, watching Mia teach her a card game and Ethan show off his Lego fire station. It fits, simple, right? Emma met someone too, a quiet accountant named Tom. She mentioned him during a school pickup, saying he was good with the kids. Jake felt a pang, not jealousy, but relief. She was moving forward, easing the weight of their past. They agreed to keep introductions gradual, prioritizing Mia and Ethan's comfort. At Mia's spring soccer game, Jake stood on the sidelines, cheering as she scored. Ethan waved from the grass, munching snacks. Emma arrived late, Tom in tow, and sat nearby. They clapped together, a fractured family united for a moment. After, Jake high-fived Mia, while Emma hugged her. Tom offered Jake a nod, which he returned. No drama, just progress. That night, Jake posted his final blog entry, announcing the book's release. "Betrayal burns, but it doesn't define you," he wrote. "I chose truth, not revenge, and build a life my kids can trust." Comments poured in, readers calling it a testament to resilience. Jake shut his laptop, peace settling in. He'd faced the fire, walked through it, and come out whole.